Today we're going to do Unit 1, Lesson 2, which is reflections. Reflection is a transformation that moves points by flipping them over a line. So flipping. That line is called the line of reflection. The line of reflection. Each point of the pre-image and the image are the same distance from the line of reflection. So the same distance from the line of reflection. Okay. And then a reflection is a mirror image of the original object. Alrighty. So those are just kind of some quick notes on reflections. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at some different notations. Okay. Some notations. So let me go to my other notes here. All right. So triangle notations. Excuse me. When you see this, okay. So triangle, the picture of a triangle is actually the shorthand that we use in math to show that this is triangle XYZ. And we use an arrow again to show that this maps to triangle X prime, Y prime, Z prime. Remember, this is the pre-image. This would be the image. Okay. So these actually here, I'm going to underline them in pink. Pre-image maps to in the image. You don't have to write that every time. All that you would be putting is triangle XYZ, arrows over to triangle X prime, Y prime, Z prime. Okay? So those are our triangle notations. Let's look at our angle notations. Angle notations are pretty much the same thing. Okay, so I'm just going to make a little chart here. So pre-image, image. Okay, so I've got angle X maps to angle X prime. So I'm going to break this triangle down into each of its unique angles. So actually, let me create this. So this would be triangle X, Y, Z. And if I reflected it, because it is a mirror image, everything would be on the reverse side. So the Z prime would be on the left, X prime would be on the right, and there is no left and right for the top point. So that Y prime just stays where it is. Okay. So that was talking about the triangle, the whole thing. Now I'm talking about the individual X to X prime, Z to Z prime, each of the angles. So angle Y maps to angle Y prime. Angle Z maps to angle Z prime. Okay, what else can you talk about on a triangle? You can talk about the entire figure as an individual piece. You can break it down and talk about the angles, but you can also talk about the sides. So this would be side XY, this would be side XZ, and this would be side YZ. Okay, so we're going to say, so let me move this down now. So I still have my pre-image and my image, but when I am talking about the line segments of the sides of my triangle, I'm going to have side XY, and the way that I show that this is a side of a triangle is I put this little line above it, okay? And that's going to map to X prime, Y prime with the bar still over it. So YZ and XZ. And now let me just take a quick moment to point out that I do cross my Z's every single time. If I don't cross my Z, you can see here that sometimes it often can look like a 2. So if it is crossed, it's the letter Z. Okay, and then let's go ahead and fill in our Y prime, Z prime, and X prime, Z prime. And there it is. So we have just shown all the notations for the reflection of triangle XYZ and all the individual parts. Okay. All right. I am going to go ahead and go on to page 2. And we're going to talk about the specific rules for reflections. Okay. So I'm going to highlight what's unique or what changes in each one. So a reflection over the x-axis. The x-axis is right here. And I am going to make a note that this is the line y equals 0. That is the equation for the x-axis, is y equals 0. And so if I start with a regular point, x comma y, what I'm going to do is change the sign of the y value. Okay, so I'm going to create a triangle on here. So let's just do, I'm going to create a right triangle. Okay, and I am going to reflect it over the x-axis. So what I need to do is, it is 2 spaces to get to the x-axis. And then I will go down 2 more spaces. And then I will create the reflection. Okay, notice how it got flipped upside down. Okay, what about if I go over the y-axis? So in this case, my x value is going to change. And I would need to do this for each of the individual points of my triangle. Okay? All right. So let's do this triangle. I'm going to flip it over the y-axis. So the equation for the y-axis is x equals 0. Okay, so let me add this note up here too. The equation of the x-axis is y equals 0. Okay, so to reflect this over the y-axis, it needs to be equidistant from the y-axis. So if I go over 2, I need to go over 2 more. Okay, and again, this would be x and x prime because it would flip. Okay, this would be y and y prime. This would be z and z prime. Let me label my points for the first one as well. I should have done that originally. So this is x, y, and z. So when I reflected it, this became x prime, this became z prime, this became y prime down here. And give that a second, it's a little blurry. Okay. Alrighty. Let us go take a look at a reflection over the line y equals x. And I'm going to show you what that line looks like. Now, a reflection over the line y equals x is that you're going to notice that the x and y values switch places, okay? And I'm going to use pink to draw the line y equals x in a dotted line. It is this diagonal. So remember, if you graphed the line y equals x, the slope would be 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, and the y-intercept is at 0. So I'm just going to remind you of those, okay? All right, so I am now going to take a figure. Let's just start something down here now, okay? And I'm going to create a different triangle. There we go. I'm going to label these A, B, and C. So currently for my A, it is at over 2 down 3. So 2, negative 3. So if I wanted to plot A prime, I would need to switch the x and y values around. So I'm just going to go to negative 3, comma 2, and I'm going to plot that. So negative 3 up 2, and that is going to be my A prime. Let's do the same thing for B prime and C prime to make sure that we get them in the right places. So B is located at 3, negative 1, and that's going to map to B prime. So I'm going to switch them around, negative 1, comma 3. Negative 1, and then up 1, 2, 3. And that is B prime. And I can connect those now if I want to, or I can just wait until the entire figure is there and ready to go. C is currently located at 5, negative 3. So C prime will be located at negative 3, comma 5. Negative 3, comma 5. And that is C prime. And so that is my reflection. And that's how I do it, working with the points so that I know that my new figure is exactly correct. Okay. Okay, we've got 2 more examples to do. I am going to now look at the line y equals negative x. Notice that again, the x and y values will flip-flop. But because it is a negative x right here, both of the signs will also change, okay? So if it's already a negative, it's going to become positive. If it's already a positive, it'll become negative, whatever its opposite is. So I am going to go ahead and draw the line y equals negative x. Remember, that would be negative 1x for my slope, plus 0 would be my y-intercept. And this line looks like this. Alrighty. So that is my line. Now, I'm going to do a rectangle this time. Why not? Okay. All right. Trying to be precise here. So this is a rectangle that I'm doing. So I now will have actually 4 points to look at. Okay. So let's do D, E, F, G. Okay. So D, E, F, G. The first thing that I need to do is to gather their original location. I need to figure out the pre-image, okay? So D is at -5, -2. E is at -3, -1. F is -1, -5. And G is at -3, -6. All right, so I just got the locations of those points real fast. Now they are going to map onto the image when I reflect it over the line y equals -x. So remember, for D prime, I need to switch the 5 and the 2 around. And because they're both negative, now they're going to become positive. Okay? Do the same thing for the rest of them. E, F, and G. Now, what would happen if I had like a +3 and a -6 here? When I switched it over, it would become a +6 and then a -3. So remember, whatever the sign is, we just switch it to its opposite. In this example, we happen to have all negative numbers. So 1, 3, 5, 1, 6, 3. I swapped them around and I changed their sign. Now I'm going to go ahead and plot my new figure. Over 2, up 5. Oh, actually that should have been a 4. I just missed. No, that's a 5. So, okay. +2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes these are tiny. Your eyes don't work with you. Over 1, up 3. And this was D prime, E prime. Let's do F prime is over 5, up 1. And G prime is over 6, up 1, 2, 3. G prime. And then I can draw this figure. And I can see how it reflected. Okay. Looks like I might have plotted a point wrong because the size is a little different. But that's the basic idea. Okay. Alrighty. Let's look at our very last one. A reflection over a specified line. Okay, a specified line. It means that, okay, so I'm just going to write a symbol here. Okay. a big R with a little subscript L, okay, parentheses, triangle, MNO. And that's like a little cursive L. So if I were to put words to this, it means that triangle MNO is being reflected. That's what the R means, over line L. All right. So I'm going to say line L, let's see, where am I going to write it? L is located at x equals 1, okay? So what that means is I'm saying that line L is located right here. This is line L, okay? So I am going to create a triangle. Switch back to black. Okay. So here's my triangle, and I'm going to reflect it over line L. So we're not really going to go equal distant on the opposite side of this y-axis. We need to go, and that's my note here, we need to go the distance from the line of reflection. So this point needs to go 2 spaces to get to the line L. Then I'm going to need it to go 2 spaces on the other side of line L. And then I will plot a point. So this is A prime, okay? B and C. So this will be C prime that I just plotted. Now let's do B prime. So 1, 2, 3 on the other side will be B prime. And then A, how far away is A from line L? It is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Okay. And that is how I reflect over a specific line that they give me. Okay. That is our lesson for today. There is an assignment posted for you on Canvas. If you have any questions or concerns, I am here to help.